Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 6.8. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Aiden Sharp going to high rise, forgot the ball. The Warriors are clogging up the paint now. The Draymond Express pulling in. Payton II. He's one off his career high. He did it as a Laker. He'd love to do it in the Bay.
Night to remember for Gary Payton II. He did wind up doing it in the Bay. A beautiful sweeping hook shot to get to 26 on a career night for Gary Payton II. Jimmy Butler with the 18th triple-double of his career, and there was a whole lot of offense inside Chase Center tonight as the Warriors handle business against the Portland Trailblazers. 130-120 is the final in the building that sits behind me as I come to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. We welcome you in. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader, John Dickinson. We've got Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627 to give us a call or shoot us a text here on this Monday night, as we appreciate everyone filing in on YouTube and Twitch as well. And the Warriors stay hot with Jimmy Butler, 12-1 now. They win the first two games of this 7-game homestand with 5 still to come. And Saturday night, it was all about the defense and the grit and grind and the ability for this team to win a grimy game. And tonight it was the offense basically on full display. And the Warriors winning with their offense after they did get off to a sluggish start in this one, down 7-0 quickly. The starts of the first and third quarters problematic for Golden State, and the poor start they got off to in the third quarter wound up allowing the game to really not ever turn into a blowout in the second half, even though the Warriors led by 19 at the half. But down 7-0 early, then a 14-2 run for the Warriors. They were really moving the ball tonight, really crisp offensively, especially early. Assists on their first 11 baskets and 11 of 12 in the first quarter. And it was a 14-2 run for the Warriors that got things going in their favor after the 7-0 deficit to start. Warriors up 35-27 into the first quarter. 11 assists on the 12 made baskets. In the quarter, the ball was just hopping. And the Warriors were getting out in transition, fast break points, an area where the Warriors had a nice advantage early. Did end up being an extremely dominant night in terms of the fast break points. The Warriors ended up 20-12 on fast break points, but they were really getting out in transition. And tonight is another one of these nights, and we saw it earlier in the year in the season opener for the Warriors against the Blazers, the dominance of the bench in this one. The bench led by Gary Payton II's 26. Buddy Hield pours in 20. He's got a couple of really good games on the year against the Portland Trailblazers. 6 3-pointers made. Just look at the night from GP2 and look at the night from Gary Payton II. They combined for 46 and end up 10 of 15 from 3. You're going to win a lot of games when you have that kind of night from a couple of players on your bench and a couple of players that you can't always count on to come through, especially GP2 in terms of being able to carry the scoring load. So the ball was moving. Warriors end up with a massive bench point advantage in this one, 56-23 overall in the game. And the Warriors end up winning it 130-120. Second quarter, Moses Moody pitching in big time in that quarter, and he just continues to be more comfortable. Warriors had 4 players in this game with 20 or more, with Moses Moody adding in there. Stephen Curry ends up with 24, 2 short of 4,000 for the career 3-point makes. The only player, obviously, ever to do that, as he is the all-time leader, and he's beaten the all-time record that he set a little over 3 years ago by over 1,000 3-pointers made already, and he's about to hit 4,000 potentially on Thursday when the Warriors will be up next against Sacramento in Chase Center, third game of the 7-game homestand. But Curry ends up with 24 to go with the Payton 26, the Buddy Hield 20. Jimmy Butler triple-double, 15, 10, and 10 with 3 steals. And it's just all clicking offensively. Thank you, as we appreciate Grace stopping by here with the delivering the goods, Kyle. Cheers to Grace. We got Grace and Alex here tonight at Harmonic in Thrive City as we get the show rolling. So a lot of offense tonight, more offense. Poor. Kyle, should I? I'm going to welcome you in so I can take that first sip. I'm just that first sip feeling here, Kyle. We're going to have it on this Monday. So how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. The Warriors are rolling, so I can never complain. And I needed that little beer pour ASMR. So there we go. Yeah.
There we go. It was actually 2 sips. It was 2 sips because it was, they got pretty busy here at the, in the initial after the game, and I was getting set up and we had everything timed out, and I thought, we'll wait, take your time. I like to get that first sip before we hit the air, but no. Out here at Harmonic, again, stop by and say hi as always if you are in the area or if you're coming to a game at Chase. Behind me here, we are right here in Thrive City, and we're here after each and every Warriors home game here on KNBR. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. A lot of offense on display. It wasn't complete offense. Quentin Post tonight, a career high, ended up, they took a block away from him. He had 4 blocks. It looks like they took a block away from him. He still ends up with 3, which is still a career high. And the Warriors, even on a night where I say they didn't necessarily do it with defense in the third quarter, for Portland, a 43-34 third quarter that allowed the Blazers to get back in the game, the Warriors still had 16 steals. 16 steals in this one. So there was some defense, and this is something we've talked about a lot. It's just the fact that the Warriors have the ability, while they can be on certain nights a little bit vulnerable defensively, and I think at times tonight they showed that, they still are going to be a team that gets in passing lanes, that has the ability to turn offense into defense at a big level, and I think we saw that tonight. Not the best defensive efficiency type of a game for Golden State, but if you get 16 steals and you wind up forcing 19 turnovers and it leads to 25 points, I mean, that's another key note in this one as it relates to Golden State. So even on a night where they do it with their offense and they make 21 threes, Portland was right there with them for the most part. 18 of 42 from 3 themselves. Anthony Simons got off. Denny Advia has turned himself into a hell of a player. Advia, somebody that was readily available going back to the offseason. And, the Warriors did, I think, at one point have some interest in Advia. Boy, could you imagine if Advia was on this team and had continued to develop and play the way that he has. He's been a big part of Portland's surge. They're cold now, but they, after a horrible start to the year, really had gotten hot. A young team that actually seems to have a little bit of a direction now. They on opening night, I was up in Portland back at the end of October, and you didn't know really what the Warriors were going to be, and they ended up blowing the Blazers out on that night. But the Blazers, I think, looked a little directionless to begin the season. I think the one thing, even though the Blazers are not going to be a playoff or a play-in team even, is the fact that the Portland at least has a direction, and they've played much better basketball under Chauncey Billups over the last couple of months overall. They've got a little balance of young and a couple of veteran players, and they've got scorers, and they've got athletes, and they've got size. And so, I mean, this game is not necessarily, even on paper, the picnic that you would have expected it to be even in October, November, or December. But the Warriors do, on a night where they give up 120 and the Blazers get hot from 3, they're able to outshoot the Blazers on a hot night for them, but also force those turnovers. Too many turnovers for the Warriors in this game tonight, 18 leading to 17 points. So again, that number for the most part was even. Not a perfect night for Golden State. The third quarter was ugly, really bad defensive quarter, but the Warriors were able to score enough to keep Portland from getting closer. Warriors only up 10 going to the fourth in this one. and the fourth quarter would be played even. And so 28-28 as the Blazers go for 27 or more in 3 of the 4 quarters. The defense of the second quarter, though, enough. Warriors winning that quarter 33-22, and that quarter is the difference-making quarter for the Warriors in this game as they ultimately get the 10-point win, 130-120. So what does it all mean as we look at the standings here tonight? And there is one game still ongoing tonight in Sacramento, and it's the next 2 teams that the Warriors are going to face are facing each other tonight in Sacramento. The Kings, who will be at Chase Center on Thursday, and the Knicks, who will be at Chase Center on Saturday night. Right now, we'll keep everybody updated. About 10 minutes to go in that one. New York has led and been in control all night long with about 10 minutes to go. They're up 107-83, although the last time we had one of these, Kyle, this team's in complete control. It was Phoenix down by about what the Kings are down at about the same time in the game, and then they ended up with a furious rally and forced overtime against the Clippers and ended up winning that game. So we will make sure to keep everybody posted as they're inside the final 10 minutes, just down I-80 in Sacramento, with the Knicks looking to get a win without Brunson. Kings had a crushing loss last night at the buzzer in L.A. in overtime. Clippers and Kawhi Leonard beat them on a buzzer beater, so they dip back to 9th, and then tough back-to-back playing the Knicks, who are just hungry for any kind of win right now without Jalen Brunson. And so, and with a tough, continuance of this trip ahead for New York over the course of the remainder of this week, and highlighted by the game that'll be Saturday at Chase Center as well. So you look around, it was a busy night. Warriors end up unable to gain ground on Memphis. Memphis beat Phoenix tonight. As we look at the NBA scoreboard here, Dallas got themselves a rare win with 8 players. They won in San Antonio. Denver and OKC. Denver, those 2 teams ended up splitting a pair. Denver and OKC, with OKC winning yesterday, they played again tonight. Those old baseball series, and Denver got the upper hand 140-127 in this one. So you look at the standings and where things sit with the Warriors now 37-28, so 9 over 500. They are right now 3 back of the Rockets. They continue to be 3 back of the Rockets. Rockets beat Orlando tonight, so no ground gained on Houston in 5th. No ground gained on Memphis, who currently sits in 4th, 120-118. The Grizzlies got the win over the Suns. 2nd and 3rd, Lakers got beat without LeBron James in Brooklyn. Yikes, 111-108. We saw the Warriors nearly lose in Brooklyn. The Lakers did lose in Brooklyn. 111-108. So with the Denver win and the Lakers loss, Denver moves up to 2. So as things sit right now, the Warriors currently in 6th, half game up on Minnesota. But right now it'd be the Warriors and the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs as things sit. It's going to be interesting to see if Denver's playing quality basketball and the Lakers are going to be in this stretch without LeBron James coming up. And it may start to settle in a little bit here where the Lakers just wind up 3rd. And would the Lakers end up even trying to duck the Warriors, you wonder, and get to 4th? I think that is something to keep an eye on. But right now, and the Warriors certainly have aspirations on attempting to move up to 5th, if not 4th. But they're 3 back of 5th as things currently sit right now. And the Warriors still 4 back of 4th. They have the 1 game against the Grizzlies April 1st. They have 1 game against the Rockets April the 6th. They'll play the Grizzlies in Memphis. They'll play the Rockets at Chase Center. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Warriors, again, I think big takeaway tonight is that the Warriors are showing, I think, another different way they can win. It was very much a handled business win. Would you have wanted, if you're a Warrior fan, for this game to be a blowout? Sure, and at times, really, especially heading toward the end of the first half, it looked like it was going to have the potential to be a blowout. But I think where Saturday showed the Warriors can win playing a defensive-oriented game, tonight shows they can win playing that offensive-oriented game. And the offense really had not been there for the Warriors. And Portland, during this stretch where they've played better basketball, has actually been a pretty quality defensive team. Now, no Jeremy Grant tonight, which changes things a little bit, but the Blazers have been playing some quality defense. And so you have to wonder, I think, as things continue to progress here, is there another gear with or without Jonathan Kuminga? We'll set Kuminga aside, who did not make his return tonight. Steve Kerr saying he hopeful that not only Kuminga but Podziemski can come back this week at some point. Well, there's only 2 more games this week for the Warriors, and it's the game Thursday and then the game on Saturday against those Kings and Knicks respectively. So we'll see. Warriors do get one of these 2-day off stretches, only 3 more sequences where they will have 2 days off for the remainder of the season. It's this next 2 days. It's the 2 days before and after the Warriors play in Miami, funny enough, on this upcoming long road trip. Other than that, it's every other day or a back-to-back the rest of the way for the final 17. So keeping everybody fresh, keeping everybody healthy, and getting a couple of the injured players back in Brandon Podziemski and in Jonathan Kuminga are going to be important. But I've been kind of wondering, is there a level the Warriors can reach offensively, even without Kuminga, that they haven't reached yet in terms of some of the ball movement and fitting Jimmy Butler into where he's doing a little bit of everything. But I think what you're seeing is Jimmy Butler the threat, Steph Curry the threat, and the emergence of GP2 in terms of, look, he's never going to be a scorer. Tonight he was, but he's never going to be somebody you can consistently necessarily count on. But the one thing that Gary Payton II is elite at, and he had a career high 3-point makes tonight, it's not that, although he did end up the 4 of 6 career high 3-point makes for GP2. It's the ability to cut and play off of. There's a reason Steve Kerr likes to play GP with Steph, and I think it works. It works because in the context of the Warriors offense, he just ducks and cuts at the right time, and Draymond finds him for a lob. When the Warriors are really humming and forcing turnovers, he gets buckets in transition, and so there's a lot of that found money offense that's in play for the Warriors, and I think GP really is somebody that as they continue to sort of level up here offensively, the way that he gets his, I think, is actually kind of similar to the way Jonathan Kuminga is going to need to get his as he fits in. A lot of the cutting, taking the open corner 3 if it's there. We've seen Kuminga improve his 3-point shot a little bit in the most recent stretch 2 months ago, right before the injury. It's taking the high percentage 3-point shots, but basically getting everything that you can at the basket, in transition, off cuts. For all of the discussion about Jimmy Butler being a model for Kuminga, and I don't disagree with it, I think the way GP2 plays offensively for the Warriors is a model for Jonathan Kuminga to come back, play short bursts, all those things Steve Kerr said, and be able to really have the ability to make an impact, whether it's Thursday or Saturday or maybe even at some point next week when the Warriors take on Denver and Milwaukee and the Toronto Raptors before they head back out onto the road. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open. 650 weighing in. GP2, a pro's pro. Different person from the 650 chiming in as well, as the Warriors get the win 130-120 over the Portland Trailblazers. Let's get a couple of Kyle's clicks here before we take our first time out tonight. As always, love to hear from everybody. Love to see everybody popping into the YouTube chat and celebrating this one. Erwin Kwong getting us tipped off here. A couple of phone lines open, by the way, 808 KNBR. Buddy got the first easy layup from Draymond that opened up his game tonight. Yeah, Buddy is always – Buddy is, believe it or not, one of the Warriors' better finishers at the rim on a team that doesn't have a lot of really good finishers at the rim. Like, Buddy typically will make his layups, and he's kind of clever. Sometimes he'll do a little switch to the left or he'll do a little switch to the right when you think he maybe doesn't have an angle or isn't going to be athletic enough to get it by a shot blocker. Like he's actually got a little bit of known for the 3-point shooting, but and again, I'm not saying in the landscape of great finisher in the NBA is Buddy on that level, but on the Warriors, I mean, he might be one of their. He honestly might be one of their top like 3 or 4 finishers on their entire team, even at the rim. But yeah, I think when Buddy can relax, I think that's always a good thing. Let's also just be honest here, Kyle. Buddy Hield kind of kicks ass against bad teams. Like he always he's had some bad games against some bad teams, no doubt. But Buddy, I mean, he had the huge game in Portland. He's had a couple of big games against Utah. Like he really especially low-level defensive teams, he just gets real comfortable and in his zone and plays more relaxed. And yeah, I think it's always good when somebody can see the ball go in the basket as it did tonight. He's had a couple of good games against the Warriors' next opponent, but not at Chase. He was bad in the one game at Chase against the Kings. He was actually pretty good in the 2 games against the Kings in Sacramento in January and going back a couple of weeks ago in February. Let's continue. Jimbo. Front office found a gem with Post. Great job. Steve loves him. 4 blocks. Impressive. He is always – he puts himself in the right position to be able to be a help defender, clogging the paint in between – a driving player in the basket. Now, you get him out on the perimeter, it's trouble. You ask him to try to finish on the interior, it's trouble. But he does, I think Quentin Post does everything he possibly can to give himself the best chance he possibly can to be an effective player defensively. And he was a force tonight for the Warriors defensively, throwing a couple of shots around. And I think, again, willing defender, yes. Always great, no. But either way you slice it, Quentin Post did impact the game on that end tonight, which I think is truly an impressive feat. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line is open. Same number there. Not going to get a replay of what happened in that Phoenix Clippers game. Knicks up now 127-92 with about 4 or 5 minutes left in Sacramento. So the Knicks are going to handle the Kings, and they're about to empty the bench as it looks like the Kings have emptied the bench, and the Knicks are about to empty the bench in that one. So Sacramento will take their second consecutive loss to dip back to 33-31. So they're going to be 2 over. The Warriors are now 9 over. So the Warriors and Kings now will be separated by 4.5. 3.5, I guess, will be the separation. 3.5 and that makes Thursday could be a knockout game. I think the Warriors can knock the Kings out from basically finishing above them. You win on Thursday against Sacramento, it'd be their 3rd straight loss. They'd be 1 over. You'd be 10 over. You'd be 4.5 back, or 4.5 up with basically 16 to play. You'd even the season series. You probably wouldn't win the tiebreaker because if the Kings were able to make up that ground on the Warriors, it would mean they're going to lose a lot of games. And the Kings do currently still have a game lead in terms of the division, or at least they would have a game lead in terms of the division. But that's 2 teams going in opposite directions at this point. But that can be a knockout blow. That can be, if you're the Warriors, the game that basically means you're no worse than 8th at season's end. And again, the Warriors have their sights set on 6, their sights set on 5. I think they've got their sights set on even 4 at this point, considering how things shake out between the Lakers, Grizzlies, and Rockets. And I guess with the Laker loss and the Lakers 3rd, Warriors are only 4 back of the Lakers, but 5 in the loss column and no tiebreaker. So you basically have to be 6 games better than the Lakers between now and the end of the year. And that's with 17 games to go. You got to make up 6. I mean, you got to go. You're talking 14-3, 15-2, something like that. I mean, you got even with LeBron being out and having them struggle. So I know Brandon Pajemski, I guess at one point last week, had said, 3's even in play, and we'll see. But the Warriors not as focused on 7-8, but they can assure themselves, I think, of 8, barring some kind of calamity of injuries, if they can deliver what would be a knockout blow in terms of that to Sacramento on Thursday after a couple of days off. So 808 KNBR, let's go ahead and take a quick timeout. Andis Brown before that. Guy has to stay in the rotation. He brings too much energy not to play, though he needs to cut back on the fouls. Yeah, he plays so little that the fouls don't necessarily come in. And, that doesn't matter. That's tricky. And look, Steve addressed it the other night after the game against Detroit, the fact that, he's going to play Kuminga short bursts. I know it infuriated a lot of people, bringing him along slowly, and that Guy has to play. I don't know how you dice all that up unless if Guy and Kuminga are going to be splitting minutes. It's not, as some have said, give Kuminga Buddy Hield's minutes, because Buddy Hield's a guard and Kuminga's a power forward, so it really doesn't work that way. But Kuminga's minutes have to come from somewhere. And if you're hell-bent, and Andis, I'm with you, there are going to be nights, and I was reluctant to say this until it kind of played out, or there are going to be nights where Guy Santos should play over Kuminga. Like some of those nights where Kuminga doesn't have it in a first half and maybe got an opportunity to show it in a second half, he may not get that opportunity if somebody like Guy Santos is bringing a lot of the things to the table that he does when he's playing well. So delicate situation to be sure. And as Steve Kerr has mentioned a bunch of different times, typically, historically, things will shake out. Somebody will get hurt. Somebody will fall out of the rotation. Obviously, the Warriors don't want anybody to get hurt, especially at this point in the year. But bringing Kuminga along slowly, I think, will help the Warriors try to figure it out. And it's why I've said a lot that I don't think Kuminga coming back is going to hurt this team. I think he can only help, because if he isn't playing well, I think the Warriors will have other options. And I think we've seen it at this particular point. All right, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. You listen to KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM San Francisco, a Cumulus media station. Our first time out. More from the YouTube chat straight ahead. We've got fun with numbers. We've got Kyle's clicks. We've got our sounds of Dubs OT. It's all straight ahead. Warriors win 130-120. It's KNBR, the sports leader.
Hoops Heads, Dubs OT with John Dickinson keeps ballin'. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Gary went to Oregon State. Maybe he likes the state. Buddy Hield runs to the three-point line. Wait a minute. Buddy! What has gotten into Buddy Hield? He just pickpocketed Anthony Simons, their best ball handler, their hottest player right now. Buddy needed a day off. That was it.
Buddy doing it with defense. GP2 revenge game. Remember, GP with the Blazers, signed with the Blazers after the Warriors won the title, and ended up having a bunch of issues between he and the organization as to how they dealt with a number of injuries, and the Warriors ended up getting him back in the middle of 2 years ago, basically the first year of that 3-year deal. He was here last year and then here for the third and final year of his deal. And look, tonight's one of those nights. There was a lot of discussion at the trade deadline, and I'll be right up there and admit, I mean, I was one of them, Kyle, where lamenting the GP2 expiring contract and the Kevon Looney expiring contract. Hey, do the Warriors need to go get one more rotation player with that? Do they need more shooting with that? As much as Jimmy Butler has worked to this point, and he had the triple-double tonight, the decision, and it was a conscious decision, to keep GP2 and Kevon Looney, who also played well in the game tonight, and really at different points was kind of doing everything. Looney had 6 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, couple of steals himself. Looney was an impactful player for the Warriors, but the conscious decision, Kyle, to keep those two guys, and they've both basically been in the rotation throughout this run where the Warriors have been playing so well. The front office has to get some credit for that. And again, I was one of the first that said, hey, I think they need to look to make a move and make a different, go in a potentially different direction. Do not let those contracts expire when you can use them to acquire a player that can, be on the roster moving forward. Again, I know Steve Kerr wanted those two around. There may have been some internal debate as to keeping them around for the vibes, but both of those guys, Kyle, have been impactful players.
Oh, no. And then you think about the experience that they bring and being on those championship teams. I think, yeah, at the time, it was like, we don't know where the Warriors' ceiling is, but now their ceiling is the Western Conference Finals and, dare I say, the NBA Finals. But you have two critical role players that can give you some big minutes. I think that was a key piece in not dealing them away.
You may have kept them around for the vibes, and for the leadership, and so because I think Steve Kerr wanted to have them around because he felt they could contribute to harmony in the Warriors locker room if it was a little bit weird in the aftermath of trading Wiggins, who everybody loved, and also bringing in a Jimmy Butler personality. And you didn't know what Jimmy Butler's personality was going to be like, right? Draymond said, he told the front office, go get another a-hole. And so they go and they do, and Jimmy comes in and look, he hasn't been that guy, at least to the naked eye. I think he's played that way. But those guys kept for the vibes, but have paid dividends, I think, in other ways, especially GP2, who since the deadline, it feels like his ability to knock down a three ball has gotten better. And we talked about how he's able to cut and move and get to the right spots, especially when he's playing on the court with Stephen Curry. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Warriors win 130-120 over the Portland Trailblazers. We're back here on Dubs OT with JD. Warriors 37-28. We were talking about it before the break. The fact that the Kings were getting blown out at home by the Knicks. Yeah, Kings had a tough loss last night in overtime. Game they really probably should have won. Had a 7-point lead with about a little over a minute left. Ended up in overtime and ended up losing on a Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater. And then they come home after having to play that game. And the Knicks are thirsty for a win without Brunson. And so the Knicks had a couple of days off. It was a back-to-back. The Knicks hadn't played since Friday night. And so it was a back-to-back for the Kings, and the Knicks did what you would have expected them to do with Jalen Brunson, and they did it without Jalen Brunson. And so, yeah, the Kings fall So the Warriors now 3.5 up on Sacramento. Sacramento's 2 over. Warriors are 9 over now at 37 and 28. So you look at the difference there, and the Warriors 3.5 up here. We had somebody in the chat say they were worried about maybe a trap game there. I will say this. The Warriors should know what the Kings are capable of doing against them. Even this new look version, although I will say the Warriors did handle the Warriors' new look against the Kings' new look. The Warriors did handle them in Sacramento in the first game after the All-Star break. So I think that's something where, you don't want to be fat and happy thinking that you're going to just show up and beat them. They're probably going to get Domantas Sabonis, have the potential to get Domantas Sabonis back, I believe, in that game. And they got Malik Monk back tonight, who had been out. But they were winning games basically with DeRozan and Levine, and Valanciunas was starting at the center spot, and Keon Ellis was starting in Monk's spot, and they were, they had some 3 good defenders and a couple of scorers, and they were taking advantage of a soft spot in their schedule. But they were a terror against the Clippers last night. They damn near beat Denver last week, had a tough loss there. But the one thing I will say about the Kings, every time they've lost a couple under Doug Christie and had a blowout game, it happened actually after the Warriors blew them out to begin the post All-Star break portion of the schedule. Every time they have a bad loss and lose a couple in a row and it feels like they're starting to slip, Christie will say some weird stuff and, grunt into the microphone and talk about having a team meeting and having to go harder and be embarrassed. And look, I tell you, from the Kings standpoint, every game against the Warriors is like a game 7 of the finals. So I don't think it's a trap game, but the Warriors should know that they're going to have to play well and take the Kings seriously, because part of the Kings' MO is beating teams that don't take them seriously. Really, when they beat good teams, it's because good teams don't take them seriously. So I'll say that as it relates to that, looking at what's coming up here for the Warriors against the Kings. And both teams have the 2 days off. Kings have 2 days off. Warriors have 2 days off. So it's going to be an even rest advantage for the Warriors and Kings as they play at Chase coming up on Thursday. All right, let's get some more Kyle's clicks here. Phone lines open, 808 KNBR. We'll get to Sounds of Dubs OT coming up at the bottom of the hour here around 10:30 as the Warriors win this one. We got our buddy Danny in Vancouver. Uncle Looney, Dubs are really gelling as a team. A lot of contributions from different players every night. Yeah, it really has been. I mean, it's been a lot of Moody. It's been, GP tonight. It's been Quentin Post in a lot of different ways. Looney was a positive force. As much as the Buddy Hield bad games are still there have been quite a few good Buddy Hield games of late. And when the Buddy Hield games are in that 18 to 20 point range, the Warriors don't lose. So, look, there could be an awful Buddy Hield game in any moment, but he also has been helping them, I think, more of late since the trade than he had been helping them prior to the trade. I think that's to be sure at this point. One more here, and then we'll get to Danny. Let's do one more. Enrique Rivera, I have zero worries about reincorporating JK. Yeah, I don't really either. I think this thing, the best possible thing that could have happened would have been the Warriors getting on this run to where Kuminga doesn't feel like he's got to do too much. I think there's so little season left that the contract thing shouldn't be a thing, because he's really going to make his most hay in terms of the money if he's impactful in the playoffs at this point. We've discussed that. And again, the biggest thing, if he doesn't play well, he's not going to kill you. I feel like he can only help, because if it doesn't work, you just don't play him. And again, who would have thought that Steve Kerr would have had options? And this is where I do differ from the masses. If Kuminga fits in and he's great, can the Warriors level up? Yes. I think the Warriors can get pretty damn close to that same level, even with a minimal contribution. I won't say no contribution, but even with a minimal Jonathan Kuminga contribution, I think that can level them up just the same. And so I think, again, the worries about it, I think, are unfounded. If you're expecting him to come back and be a third star, then you're completely out of your mind, I think, to begin with. Set those expectations down just a little bit. And I think he's a talented player with a skill set that really does have the potential to fit in a big-time positive way. All right, let's get at 808 KNBR to our buddy Danny in Vancouver joining the conversation here on a Monday on the Sports Leader. Hey, Danny.
Hey, JD. Another bad, awful Buddy Hield game is always just around the corner, but hopefully. But I got to give him his props tonight. I thought he played really well. He made some nice hustle plays, some nice steals. That was a little bit of a stressful game, JD. I Portland was shooting so well. I just was worried that if the
thanks.
Sorry, are you?
No, you're good, Danny. Sorry, Danny. No,
no, not at all.
That's my fault. Okay. I had somebody come up here at the brewery that wanted to say hi, and I should have kept my voice down, Danny.
No, not at all. That's all right. I thought we got cut off. Sorry, I was just saying about. Portland was shooting so well. I didn't think the Warriors' defense was bad. I just thought they just really, really shot well, Portland. So I got to give them some credit. I was listening to watching the game, the San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors broadcast, and of course, they were talking about that. So, just about how good a young team Portland is, and I think they're playing well. So, but again, the difference now is we have that margin of error now. I think that's the biggest thing. We have the buffer when we don't have to play perfectly to win these games. So it was great. And the only other thing I was going to comment is, it's funny, I know you mentioned a while back, and I usually am pretty aligned with you on this stuff, but I know you thought that, and I think you acknowledged it, that maybe Looney and Payton, are sort of, I don't know, put words in your mouth, but maybe they were not necessary to stay on the Warriors. But I just thought especially Payton, has really showed you how much his value is worth with the Warriors. And I'd hate to see those guys go, Looney and Payton. And also, I was especially happy for Payton to play so well against Portland, because Portland really didn't know how to use him. I remember watching Payton play a few games with Portland when for that year he was away, and they just were not using him at all. I just thought they were just stupid about how they were playing him. So he's a great fit in Golden State. So. Yeah, anyways, that's it. Thanks, JD. We'll share your comments.
Thanks. No, appreciate it, Danny. And yeah, sometimes Danny is the gentleman coming up to say hi, and sometimes Danny's the guy on the phone when a very kind gentleman will come up and say hi. But yeah, I did address it a little bit earlier in the show. I mean, I had those two back at the trade deadline, GP2 and Looney, as expendable. I think is probably the most kind way to put it, and not that I don't like both players, I do, but I think as you look to project forward with what this Warriors team could be, even with the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, I thought they needed one more consistently playable player that could maybe knock down some shots, and a wing that could knock down some shots, another guard that could maybe handle the ball, something like that, a two-way player, and so I was wrong. I mean, honestly, and I mean, maybe in the playoffs, that's the kind of player the Warriors ultimately need. I also think you're doing the risk-reward analysis on they're going to be free agents, and if you lose them, then for nothing, and they're going to go somewhere else in the offseason, then it would be beneficial to add a contract by packaging them together, or trading one of them to where you get a player that's under contract moving forward that could be used in another deal. Those two cannot be used in any deal in the offseason. But I think what we're seeing is, the reality right now is, and I would not have said this a month ago, but both of those guys, depending upon where the Warriors take this thing, the Warriors may end up wanting both of them back next year. Steve Kerr, those are two of Steve Kerr's favorite players on the roster just in terms of professionalism, leadership, and all of those kinds of things. And so, not only have they earned minutes on this team and important ones, they've also, really, I think maybe started themselves to factor in the ability to continue to play moving forward. So 808 KNBR, let's get Fozzie in the East Bay next here on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Fozzie?
Yo, JD, what's up, brother? Thanks for taking my call.
What's going on, man? What do you got for me tonight?
Look, if we can get this strength and number vibes going on that we saw tonight, I know it's a weaker team, the Blazers, but man, you get 20 from Moody, from GP2. I know that's a lot to ask for him, but Quentin Post was knocking down a few threes. You keep these guys doing this strength and number things, got us looking like the 2018 Warriors, man. I think we can take it a long way, man, especially with Jimmy Butler dropping a triple-double tonight. It looked great. And I know Steph was trying to get to 4,000 tonight. Look, man, cheers. I know he was trying to get it over with it early or late in this game so it doesn't turn
he
into
missed
a
the
big
one,
thing.
Fozzie. He missed the one in the corner. There was about 2 minutes left. He missed the one in the corner, which was a really good look. And I thought if he had hit that one, he was going to really chase it in the final couple of minutes. But that one rimmed out and missed. And it was like, all right, at that point, all right, on to Thursday. He'll have to try to do it against the Kings.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like he was really trying to get it over with so it doesn't turn into a whole thing early on Thursday's game. But
two's a good place to be, though. Two's a good place to be because you got to think if you're Steph, you're going to get 2 in the natural flow of the game. You always get 2 in the natural flow of the game. Like 9 times out of 10, you're going to get 2 in the natural flow of the game. Even if you're having a bad shooting night, you're going to get 2 in the natural flow of the game. So I think the fact that he's as close as he is means that it isn't a thing. I think it's actually tougher if you're like 4 or 5 away, where you 5, he hits 5 a lot, but you might you get to 2 and then you start chasing it because you feel hot. I think that's in a good place to not have to impact the game on Thursday too much.
Yeah. It'll everybody will be waiting for it, and I know it'll be on his mind. But I did want to just say, if we just get this thing going like what we saw tonight, it was an all-around good game for everyone, which you want to see. And I know everybody's worried about JK and how he's going to come back and he might disrupt the flow of what we got going on right now. Let's just keep riding this wave that we got going on. The team looks great right now. We're on to Thursday. Steph's going to get 4,000. He might get to 5,000 when it's all said and done. Shout out to the YouTube chat. JD, you my bro. Cheers, brother.
Thanks, Fozzie. Appreciate you. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Fozzie of the East Bay, always checking in, and we always appreciate it. Yeah, this team it's just, you're seeing the balance. You're seeing the different ways they can beat you. And again, I'm going to say this every night. It is still fragile because, and keep in mind the one game that Jimmy Butler missed. They immediately look like the team that they had been in the first 51 games of the season. So that's its own. You got to keep these guys healthy. But now is the time on this homestand. With the Kings coming in, you're a better team than the Kings. With the Knicks coming in, you beat them with Jalen Brunson at the Garden. They're not going to have Jalen Brunson. Denver's a really good test. Those are the two. You want to get these next 2 and go into the 2 against Denver and Milwaukee feeling real good. And those are the true test games. And then you got Toronto at the end of it as a get-right game if you need it before going on the road. And then that's where the schedule really on the road is much more comfortable for the Warriors than even this homestand. This is kind of a sneaky, tough homestand. With Portland is not a good team, but they're playing a lot harder. Really the only true gimme, I think, is the Toronto game. Tonight I didn't think was a gimme. You'd have to play well. The Warriors played well enough. They hit 21-3. You hit 21 threes against Portland, you're going to win. Now they hit 18, and varying degrees. I didn't think the defense was great tonight, but they did force some steals and they did have some blocks, and so that they did enough to where if you're going to score 130, you were going to be all right. And I do think some of it is just look at Portland, having kind of a hot night, but. you're a better team than than the Kings. You're playing the Knicks without Brunson. You get those, and then you take your chances with the remainder of these games. Other thing, just quickly on Danny's call, you can live with the bad Buddy Hield games if he's going to have some games like tonight, in addition to the bad Buddy Hield games. And so, that's been what had been lacking. It had been a lot of bad games, and his good games were like 11 and 3 of 8. From 3 with a layup. Like those were like the good Buddy Hield games, and some bad defense. And he's also somebody that I think when he's hitting, when he's hitting shots, I think the rest of his game is a lot more comfortable. Like he's one of those guys that he almost has to shoot well to do the other things well. And if he's not shooting well, then he does the other things really poorly. And so it's feast or famine, really. It's you get the great Buddy Hield, or you get the terrible Buddy Hield, and I think that's the way you have to weight it. Enter the Draymond. Buddy is worth the roller. Well, he's worth it tonight. Again, if he's 0 for 8 and has 0, and the Warriors lose to the Kings on Thursday, and he plays 25 minutes, then we're going to be having a completely different conversation. Enter the Draymond. Enrique Rivera, Buddy gets his flowers. He had stretches defensively where he was on point. Offensively, he was huge. He definitely gets his flowers tonight. That is a fact. He is. So, and again, it's a matter of, I think really it's Kerr has to recognize, and he has to recognize, I think, a little quicker some nights when Buddy doesn't have it. And typically Kerr doesn't do that in the regular season. But in the playoffs, Kerr's been very good. Like Kerr has been in the playoffs like a Bruce Bochy. Like Bruce Bochy would manage his bullpen. Like, I'm getting this guy out, I'm getting this guy in. Like Kerr is like, I'm going away from this guy and I'm not playing him again for a series. I'm taking this guy out now. If I don't take him out now, we're going to lose the game. If we lose the game, we might lose the series. Like Kerr but he doesn't typically do that in the regular season with guys. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll take a timeout, and we'll get to our sounds of Dubs OT and get to our final segment of the night. Moody slowly but surely improving. His drives are solid. I think his drives have been better because of his three-point shot, and he's got defenders coming at him. What's going on, Alex? Alex here from Harmonic. Grace, you want camera time? Oh, yeah, you can get Grace can get camera time as well. Yeah, yes. Hi, Grace. Yes, say hi. Wave. Yeah. There's Kyle. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. Anytime, just come over and say hi anytime. Just, yeah, we appreciate it. Doing the real work tonight. We've got Grace and Alex chiming in here. Yeah, Moody's he's driving off of closeouts, which I think makes the drives a little easier. Finishing is better because I think there's less pressure on him at the rim because the defense is more scrambled. And the open threes, I think, are the rhythm that's been created by Steph, by playing with Steph and by playing with Jimmy. Like he's much more of all of a sudden Moses Moody looks like a 3-and-D wing. And why? Because the Warriors have 2 stars. Like, it's not that hard. He looks like a 3-and-D wing starter because he's playing with 2 legitimate stars. Like, if you have 2 legitimate stars, it's kind of the same thing with Brandon Pajemski. So anyway, I digress on that. Let's take that quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get more from the YouTube chat. But our Sounds of Dubs OT is coming up. Warriors win it 130-120. We'll hear from Steve Kerr and others. Career night for Gary Payton II. And the Warriors get the win over the Blazers 130-120. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR presents the sounds of Dubs OT.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
No class, no ball.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Now here's John Dickinson.
All right, Warriors win 130-120. We're back here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Final segment tonight as we'll keep this thing going until about 11 o'clock, and then back on Thursday for the Warriors and the Kings in the aftermath of that. By the way, Copes and Derek Papa are going to be broadcasting live from Harmonic before the Warriors take on the Kings 2-6 before the game on Thursday right here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. And then the Warriors and the Kings, and then I'll be here after the ball game for Dubs OT. And then next week I will be on with Derek Papa sitting in for Copes for the Bucks game on Tuesday. So Monday is Denver. There were some games shifted around, by the way. Online, it's all good if you look at the schedule online or on your phone or whatever. But there were a couple of changes next week to the schedule just for people kind of following along due to the wildfires down in Southern California. They had to move some games around. So I think the Warriors originally were going to play Monday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. And it was going to be Toronto. It was going to go Denver, Toronto, Milwaukee. Now it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and it's Denver, Milwaukee, Toronto. So they flipped some games and changed some days and did some things there. But Tuesday, which was not an originally scheduled day, I'm going to be with Derek Papa 2-6 here at Harmonic, and then after the game as well. Always after the game. After every game here on the Sports Leader. It's the best Dubs coverage in the Bay. This team is hot, and we are all over it following every game. All right, let's get to our sounds of Dubs OT. We're going to start with a couple of Kerrs. I'm going to reorganize on the fly here. We'll start with a couple of Kerrs, and we'll start with I'm actually going to flip it again here, Kyle. I'm going to go with the Kerr on Jimmy Butler first. Butler with the triple-double. And you can feel his presence every night in some form or fashion, some nights multiple different ways. But here's Steve Kerr addressing the things that Jimmy Butler has brought to the table for the Warriors.
Great basketball player. I mean, just he does everything. He does everything well. He sees the game. He's strong, loves to pass. The game just flows when he's out there, and he feels it. Whatever the game calls for, Jimmy brings. He's the main reason that things have turned for us. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league, and he makes everybody else around him better.
Yeah, and again, you've seen it in so many different ways. I mean, he's just so steady. I mean, the thing that I keep coming back to, Kyle, he's just so steady. And, I mean, he makes the simple play. He keeps it moving. He's composed. Like, I thought from watching Jimmy with the Heat specifically, but even with Philly and before that Minnesota and Chicago as a younger player, I thought he was a little bit more out of control than he actually is. And maybe this is a good stretch of, but, hearing the comments Jimmy's made about hating turnovers and, he always thought he was a high IQ player to be, but I thought he took a few more bad shots than he does. Part of that was, again, I think him being asked to be the main guy, especially with Miami, kind of like Steph had been asked to be the main guy without a true number two. No slight to Bam Adebayo, but Bam Adebayo is not a true number two scorer. Neither is Tyler Hero. And so neither is, anybody else that the Heat have put around Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, or, any of the guys that were around going back a couple of years ago. Martin now with Dallas. But yeah, Jimmy's bringing it in a big way every single night. All right, let's hear more from Steve Kerr on the man of the night tonight. If it wasn't Jimmy Butler in a triple-double, it was Gary Payton II, and just how he's fit himself into this Warriors offense. I think it's key to listen here to what the head coach has to say.
Everyone's going to guard Gary the same way. They're going to sit off of him and sit in the paint or double Steph. And so he's going to be open from the three-point line every game. And so tonight, we had him handling the ball quite a bit to initiate the offense. And then he would, receive it on the back end because they were overplaying everybody else. So it was just product of their defense.
Yeah, and I think again, what I hear when I hear Steve say that, I think of Jonathan Kuminga, and teams are much more braced to build a wall against Kuminga drives, but it's that too many other things to worry about. If you're the opposition, especially if Kuminga's playing with Steph or playing with Jimmy, and we know he's going to be playing with at least one of them at all times because Steph or Jimmy's going to be out there at all times, as long as both are healthy. And so the defenses are always going to be catering to try and stop one or both of those guys. And Kuminga has the ability to absolutely use that to his advantage. So when I think GP, I also think Kuminga, different players. Kuminga is far more of a legitimate scorer, obviously, but the way that he can get his, especially initially until he gets his game comfortable, I think it's a player he should mold his game after every bit as much as attempting to maybe for the future to mold his game after somebody like a Jimmy Butler. All right, let's continue here. Sounds of Dubs OT. Let's hear one from Moses Moody. Nice night for Moses Moody. Warriors have paid him. He wasn't always getting the run that he would want, and some of the Warrior fans would certainly want, but a great game for Moses Moody. 2 of 5 from 3, scores 20 points, 7 of 10 overall. He was getting to the bucket a little bit more tonight. Is this the most confident Moses Moody has been in his NBA career?
It's a compilation of everything I've been working on over the years, over the time. Getting that consistent minutes makes you feel comfortable. You know where your shot's going to be. You know what to look for. Finding a little something on defense, so being able to pick up and do that consistently every night, that's definitely some of the most comfortable basketball I play.
Yeah, so Moses Moody feeling it. And, again, his game, when he is the perfect type role player around what the Warriors are building here with Steph and Jimmy Butler. Another guy who's got a little bit, because I don't think Moses Moody's floor is low. When he gets into a rhythm where it's just he knows he's going to be playing every night and you can count on him in certain different ways, like the flow of the floor is low because he fits into the flow of what's going on. And so if he's not making shots, like some guys when they're not making shots, they kill you. Like, they're not making shots, they kill you. They're taking bad shots. Like, Moses Moody can have a bad shooting game, and it doesn't always feel like he's killing you, unless it's a night where, like, nobody's hitting and you don't have that second or third score. Like, yeah, those nights, sure. But a lot of nights he can have a 4 for 10. And, he can have a 5 for 13. And it doesn't always feel like it's killing you because he's taking the right shots, even if he's not hitting. And that means he'll get an opportunity to maybe hit some of those shots at different points in the game. And those can be the points of the game where you can, maybe take advantage and get on a little bit of a run. All right. One of those high varying of degree players is Buddy Hield. When he doesn't make shots, you're kind of, all right, what's going on with this guy? But he was making shots tonight, but Buddy addressed what opens up for GP to allow him to be the scorer that he was tonight, career high 26 points. Here's Buddy.
Lobs, threes, dunks, layups. He's like a 6'2" big man. He has great touch, great feel. I think he rolls better than anybody in the league. His percentile is probably 99 percentile. He's a hawk on the ball. He's feisty. He's a great teammate. And no wonder why he's been playing at a high level lately, and he's been doing the right things. And he's been a sponge everywhere, and he's finding his niche. And he's been accelerating in that area.
Yeah, he's really been somebody that's come along in a big way for the Warriors here. I think since the trade deadline. I mean, I'm looking at GP's numbers, and he's been shooting the 3 ball better than he had been. I mean, at one point he was like 20% or something, less than 20% from 3-point range. And now he's able to, he's got that number, pushed up at least a little bit. I'm looking at GP2 just here in March. In March, he's got a 4 for 6 game tonight. He's got, it hasn't been great in March, actually, honestly, overall. He's He's what I'm looking at it right now. He's 4 for 6 tonight. He's 5 for 12, 5 for 14. So he's, even in, it's still kind of up and down, but he's had a couple of more of those games where he's knocked down a few. Charlotte game 2 for 2, Dallas game 1 for 2, the other Dallas game 2 for 3. So there are certain nights, but he has scored on twos much more effectively. If you look at the Brooklyn game, he's 7 for 10 on twos. The Philly game, he's 7 for 9 on twos. The Charlotte game at home, he winds up 4 for 7 on twos. That was a night where he knocked down some threes. At Dallas, he was really good. Like it's the layups and the dunks and the things that ultimately make the difference, I feel like, for GP2 as his game continues to unfold. All right, let's spend about the last 10 minutes. 808 KNBR, as that is our sounds at Dubs OT. The Golden State Lumber and Showroom text line open. Let's get to a couple there. Well, 424. Dubs got their swag back, playing the best ball in the West, and have OKC on notice in the Western Conference Finals. So you might not play OKC in the Western Conference Finals, Kyle. You might be the second round, if depending upon where things shake out as it relates to that. From the 209, once Kuminga is back, this Warriors squad is a title contender to come out of the West. I think they're pushing up to that line, I think, already at this point. 408, Warriors want to go 7-0 on this homestand and be the 4 or 5 seed by the end of it, hitting their stride, closing in on Memphis and Houston to take their playoff seed in the conference. Good stuff there from the 408. And again, we laid it out at the top of the show. Now, close of business tonight. Sacramento got blown out by the Knicks, so they've lost 2 straight here over the last 2 nights, 33-31. Warriors now are a half game up on Minnesota. I mean, that's the other part of this. As well as the Warriors are playing, and it's 12-1 with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, and they're 9 over 500, which, I mean, they haven't been 9 over 500 since, the end of November. Last week of November, beginning of December type of a range. But this Warriors team only a half game up on 7th. So I know the sights are on Houston. They're 3 back of Houston and 5th. They're 4 back of Memphis and the Lakers. They're 4 back of 3rd. They're 4 back of 4th. They're 3 back of 5th and Houston. But they're only a half game up on 7th. And I think that's something we have to continue to keep in mind. Like, this team has to keep winning to be able to keep the Timberwolves specifically. I don't think the Clippers can catch them. I don't think the Kings can catch them. The Kings cannot catch them if the Warriors beat the Kings on Thursday at Chase Center. It's a wrap as far as the Kings being able to beat out the Warriors in the standings. Again, barring some kind of Dallas level of injury by the Warriors, which obviously nobody wants to see, but they are still closer to 9th or 8th, basically, not 9th, 8th as they are to 5th. So a lot of these wins are necessary. Half game up on 7th, a game and a half up on 8th, and now 3.5 up on Sacramento, who sits in 9th at 33-31. So that's a big game. That is a big game on Thursday, because the Kings are going to be looking at that game as almost a last stand, I feel like, to be able to, try and push for something better than 9th. They don't have the tiebreaker against the Clippers at this point. Minnesota might have too easy in a schedule. So this is a big game. And I was looking at some numbers on Sacramento. What kind of team have they been? It's funny. The Kings played the Warriors. Warriors played the Kings a couple of times where the Warriors were in a bad way and the Kings beat them. The Kings are 12-21 against teams above 500 this season, and 21-10 against teams below 500. So that tells you all you need to know. And so the Warriors, if you're a good team and you come out and play your game, you beat the Kings. Bottom line, point blank. All right, let's get Kyle. Let's get some Kyle's clicks, and then we'll do some fun with numbers and call it a night here. Just about the top of the 11 o'clock hour here on the Sports Leader. What do we got, Kyle? Let's see here. Moses Moody is greater than Jake Moody. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is a fact. Uncle Looney, Buddy Love or Buddy Butt? B-U-T-T. That's the question. Tonight was Buddy Love. But, he is a high variant player, Uncle Loon. Wow. He is either huge impact on the positive or huge impact to the negative. Kyle, by the way, let me know if we have to get anything in before 11 o'clock. Okay, I think we're good. But yeah, just make sure we're good. J-Tan, because I'm probably going to go right up to 11. So if we have a couple spots that we need to get in before 11, just hit me and let me know. Triple-double along with 4 steals, and the whole team had 16 steals. Yeah, Jimmy Butler was on one tonight. Like, he was on one. Like, he just – and again, quiet in terms of the scoring – by what we've seen Jimmy Buckets be able to be. But yeah, 15, 10, and 10 and the defense. 15, 10, and 10 plus the defense in this one. 3 steals, just 4 offensive boards, 6 defensive boards. Just a great Jimmy Butler basically gave the Warriors a Draymond Green night tonight. Estimated eyes on a night where Draymond scores. I can't believe the difference one guy has made. He's a star. Like Jimmy Butler's a freaking star. Like, he's been the best player on every team he's been on, basically, except for maybe a year with Derrick Rose. Like, when he was super young. Like, Jimmy Butler's been an alpha, a dude. Like, this is the first time in a long time he's been a 1A or a 2. And the Warriors got themselves a real one and a motivated one. And that's why people were so adamant, so passionate about the Warriors needing to go out and find somebody like that to just see. Because that was the thing. I think for the most part, those that were clearly paying attention knew that Steph Curry wasn't washed. But has there ever been a better explanation of the fact that what the Warriors needed to do is exactly what they did? Like, for all of the debate we had for 2 years about whether the Warriors needed a second star or not, wow. Can you imagine if they hadn't done it at this point the night before the trade deadline? I can, because this team, I think, would be closer to Portland than they are to the 3 seed. I'll tell you that. But yeah, everything has fallen into line. Now you've got you went from having, less than a full star with the level that Curry was playing at to now having 2 stars plus like 6 really good role players. Gene, hard to believe. Anthony Lamb got more run than Moses Moody. Different guy, different steps of their careers, different points. Like, I'm not gonna. At least they played the same position. I'll give you that. At least Anthony Lamb and Moses Moody played the same position. San Jose Jazz fan 4, GP2. GP2 is greater than 5 second-round picks. Yeah, those 5 second-round picks. Have a good one, Jacob. See you, bro. Jacob Violante calling it a night in the San Francisco studios. We got overnight Dave hiding from the camera tonight. Or maybe they moved the camera. What's up, Dave? Yeah, that's Dave's hand. GP2 definitely worth the second-round picks that were shipped to Portland for his return back to the Bay. A couple of more here. Irwin Kwong, Quentin Post returned some mail to sender tonight. Yeah, he did. He was good. Like, that's... It's always going to be the three-point shot. He had some struggles at the rim tonight offensively, but he more than made up for it, it felt like, tonight defensively. And look, if he can if he can be steady defensively, it's a major win for the Warriors. He was beyond steady defensively for the Warriors tonight. General Mayhem. Who is this GP2 everyone is speaking of? All I saw was Batman out there tonight. Yeah, with the mask. GP, Gary Payton II with the mask. San Jose Jazz fan 4. My sources say Kerr said the Warriors play better without Kuminga and Pods. Well, you might be half right. So, San Jose Jazz fan 4 sources. I don't think Alpha, JD, the Dubs look like they believe they can win it all. I mean, we're getting closer to that. We're getting closer to that by the day. I want to see how this homestand shakes out. I want to see if there's a letdown. I want to see if there's an injury. You hope certainly there is not an injury, but I want to see how things shake out on the remainder of the homestand before we fully talk title. But we're going to know by the end of the year, based on where they finish in the standings and the matchups and everything, whether they legitimately can get it done. But they have been reinvigorated at every level and look like they believe they can get it done. I am not disputing that one bit, Alpha. All right, one more from Gene. It would be interesting if they go 50 and 32 like the 22 championship year. I think they were 53 and 29 that year. I think they were JD stickler for accuracy. I'm going to look it up right now. 21-22 Warriors. I think they were 53 and 29. And I remember that only because, they were 53 and 29. I remember that only because the Nuggets then the next year won 53 games. So it was back-to-back years, a team that won exactly 53 games won the title. But 53 and 29 was the mark for the Warriors in that 2022 season. So they got to go. What would that be, Kyle? They'd have to go 16 and 1. I mean, they're already 12 and 1 with Jimmy Butler. Can they go 16 and can they go 4 more and then go 12 more and 1? We'll have to see. Are we to the moment that everyone has been waiting for?
Oh, there was some high anticipation, and by popular demand, I was forced to make this chat our Dubs OT comment of the night.
Now, time for the Dubs OT comment of the night.
Whoa, San Jose Jazz fan 4 coming in. AI overview. Is that what that is? AI?
Yeah.
Or is it okay? So AI overview. The chat is discussing whether you can have too many a-holes and how awful colostomy bags are. Oh, San Jose. Oh my gosh. You can on a team have too many, and the general rule is you shouldn't have more than one. I mean, that's a general rule in life. You shouldn't have more than one, but
if you ever wonder what the chat is talking about, it's one of those two.
It's one of those two. Yeah, usually. Well, San Jose, you win the grand prize, which is appear on JD's tab the next time you come to Harmonic in Thrive City for the comment of the night here. Yes, that was me in the chat, by the way. There were a couple of people. I had a couple of colorful. I went Greg Silver tonight and just hopped in the chat. Like Greg likes to. I'll be like, Greg, you want to come on? He'll be like, nah, I got stuff's going on. Get ready for the show. I'm going out with a girlfriend. What? And then he'll be like in the chat talking to everybody. Like, Greg, you can be in the chat, but you don't have time to come on. I get it. It's sometimes just you got to get all the equipment connected, all that stuff. But I put this at a point. I did. That was me in the chat. It was me with some. My Kings takes. My takes on my early takes on the game on Thursday. True story. All right, let's get to as we get to the 11 o'clock hour, KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM San Francisco. the sports leader, a Cumulus media station. Let's get to fun with numbers, and we will call it a night here from Harmonic in Thrive City.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
Oh, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, Warriors 37-28 with the 130-120 win over the Blazers. They've won 10 of the last 11, including 5 in a row. That matches their season high winning streak. So if they can win on Thursday, it'll be the longest winning streak of the season for the Warriors. They now 3 times have won 5 in a row. They're 19-13 at home. They've won 7 of the last 8 at home. That's big. Started before the trade deadline. It's continued here since the trade deadline with the Warriors on the home floor winning streak, and they've got 4-0 at home since the Jimmy Butler trade. They've won 12 of the last 13 against Portland, including the last 8 since Jimmy Butler made his Warriors debut. The Warriors are 12-2 and 12-1 in games that Butler played. He missed that game on March 1st at Philadelphia. Warriors lost that one and looked very much like the team we've seen for the first 2/3 of the season. 50% from the field tonight for the Warriors, 52.9 to be exact, and 50% from three-point range as the Warriors ended up making the 21 threes, 90% from the line as well. First time since, November 14th of 2022 when they shot, the first time they've done that, 50-50-90, basically. First time they've done that since the early part of 2 seasons ago against the Spurs. Tonight, second time this season, the Warriors had 2 reserve players, two bench players with 20 or more. It was Payton and Hield. It was Hield and Kuminga the last time it happened at Houston on November 2nd. That was a game the Warriors won without Steph Curry after they blew the 31-point lead in Houston and then won the game in overtime. 16 steals for the Warriors, season high for the 3rd time. They're 6-1 when they score 130. They're 21-8 when they got 30 assists, 35 tonight. And they're 8-0 when they shoot at least 50% from the field on the year. 7-0 with 30-plus assists and shooting 50% from the field. So the offense was flowing, and they were leading going to the fourth quarter. They're 33-4 when leading going to the fourth quarter. 56 bench points. Warriors are 12-5 when they get 50 or more bench points. And the Warriors in the 2 games this year, 2 games, the opener, this is the first time the Warriors have played Portland since the opener in Portland. And the Warriors have 127 bench points in the 2 games. So, I mean, do the math on that. That is, 63.5 points per game in the 2 games for the Warriors bench. Steph, the 5 threes, he's too shy of 4,000. We'll see if he can do that on Thursday against the Kings. Jimmy Butler had his 18th career triple-double and his first with the Warriors, the 15, 10, and 10 game. Career night for Gary Payton II, 26 points off the bench. Warriors had 4 20-plus scores. It was Moody. It was Payton. It was Stephen Curry for the Warriors in this one, and it was also Buddy Hield for the Warriors in this one, who ended up hitting that 20-point mark. And Buddy Hield, Warriors are 11-0 when he has 19 or more, 6 3-pointers for the 5th time. And Quentin Post had that career high. At one point it was 4. It got knocked down to 3 blocks for Quentin Post. All right, that'll do it. Kyle, great stuff, my man. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate Jacob Violante as well. And Overnight Dave. Is there anybody I'm leaving out tonight, Kyle?
Kyle Chung was hanging out, actually running the USF basketball game. And it was a close game, but I think they lost to Gonzaga in the conference tournament.
Tough L. Well, Kyle Chung always gets a shout out. He's part of the Dubs OT community. We're back Thursday, right back here at Harmonic in Thrive City after the Warriors take on the Kings. This is a big one. Couple of games to keep an eye on tomorrow. Tuesday, typically a lighter night in the NBA. Only 4 games tomorrow, and really one that Warrior fans should be keeping an eye on. It's the Clippers at the Pelicans. So a game that the Clippers probably should get. The Clippers have won 3 in a row now after they were struggling a little bit. But that's just one of those teams beneath the Warriors in the standings that are going to continue to try and stay right there on the Warriors' heels. That's one to keep an eye on tomorrow. And then as far as Wednesday, because the Warriors have the 2 days off before they will play the Kings. And again, the Kings do not play Tuesday or Wednesday either. A few more games on Wednesday to keep an eye on. Clippers are at Miami, so they've got a back-to-back. They'll play twice before the Warriors play again. Houston is hosting Phoenix on Wednesday. Memphis and Utah on Wednesday. Minnesota at Denver. So that's a game in both directions. Who are the Warriors going to play if they end up 6? And what happens with Minnesota? So tough game for Minnesota at Denver. So those are some games to keep an eye on Wednesday. And then Thursday, it's the Warriors and the Kings. That is the big game of the night. That's actually the TNT game on Thursday, the late TNT game as part of the Turner doubleheader. Lakers-Bucks is the early game, and then Kings-Warriors on TNT on Thursday night. All right, that'll do it. Thanks to Alex and Grace here at Harmonic. We'll talk to you Thursday. Warriors win at 130 to 120. It's KNBR 104.5 at 680, the sports leader.
Dia, what kind of good defender in Butler. Moody with a steal. 3 seconds to work with. Moses, big striding. Moses Moody. He plays beat the clock. And that will do it for the half.
Emirates Cup or bust.
Oh, hell yeah.
First of all, you guys start off liking each other.
I'm super cereal.
Big fat dub.
Ain't nobody going to stop me.
I just wake up and I can shoot it no matter if I'm playing or not.
But great win.
Who are these guys?
I love you, JD. Bye, sugar.
I can see the headline now. Kerr says Warriors better without Curry.
Jimmy freaking Butler puts it in.
Everything's gonna be alright.